Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Since debuting in June, Jacob Fatu has been one of the most dominant WWE superstars. He has tested his mettle against Roman Reigns several times and proved he is a major threat to the OG bloodline. Fatu and Reigns collided once again on SmackDown this past Friday, but the Samoan werewolf had some backup in the form of Bronson Reed. Together, the two men overcame Reigns before Solo Sikoa stepped back up to help the new bloodline send a message to the OG bloodline. Following the show, Jacob made it clear that he disagrees with Reigns' recent assessment that they are not the ones. Fatu shared an image of himself with Solo Sikoa and Bronson Reed and noted that "we the ones," a phrase used by the OG bloodline, made it clear that everyone else was the twos. It's hard to argue with Fatu, given their recent run on SmackDown and their defeat of the OG bloodline at Crown Jewel. Jacob Fatu and Bronson Reed could be a formidable team if given the chance on WWE SmackDown, since Fatu and Reed worked together on WWE SmackDown this week. Many fans have been calling for the two stars to be given the chance to work together in a tag team. Fatu already has his bloodline, but it will be interesting to see how they coexist at Survivor Series and if Reed can be trusted. If the two men are able to work together, then it could be an interesting team to circle back on for both men, since they have shown how dominant they can be. Reed and Fatu decimated Roman Reigns in seconds. The former Universal Champion had dominated WWE for over 4 years, and many fans were shocked to see the bloodline take out the OTC in recent weeks. The buzz surrounding WWE SmackDown had been intense after Jacob Fatu's shocking debut on the blue brand. Billed as a monumental addition to the roster, Fatu's presence had already sent waves through the WWE universe. However, no one expected the fiery clash between him and the OG bloodline to escalate so quickly. By the end of the night, Fatu's rebellious proclamation would leave fans and superstars alike questioning the fate of Roman Reigns' legendary faction. The setup, the Bloodline's Power Play SmackDown, kicked off with Paul Heyman addressing the WWE Universe. Flanked by Solo Sikoa and Jimmy USO, Heyman declared that Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, was recovering from a grueling title defense and would not be present. "Even the head of the table needs time to recuperate," Heyman said, his tone as smug as ever. "But rest assured, the bloodline remains stronger than ever under the guidance of our tribal chief." As the segment progressed, Heyman pivoted to an ominous warning directed at Jacob Fatu, who had laid waste to Jimmy USO in a surprise backstage brawl the previous week. Heyman claimed that Fatu was overstepping his bounds, dishonoring his family, and attempting to usurp the throne that rightfully belonged to Roman Reigns. "Jacob Fatu," Heyman hissed, "you dare challenge the legacy of the tribal chief? There is only one head of the table, and you will acknowledge him." Jacob Fatu's explosive response later in the night, Jacob Fatu stormed the ring to address Heyman's earlier remarks. His theme music hit, a menacing mix of Polynesian drums and hard-hitting beats, and the crowd erupted. The Samoan werewolf looked intense, clad in his signature streetwear and dripping with unfiltered confidence. Grabbing a mic, Fatu wasted no time. "Heyman, Solo, Jimmy, y'all out here running your mouths like you're untouchable. But let me remind you, blood or not, I'm not here to bow to anybody. Especially not to a man who forgot where he came from." The crowd roared as Fatu's words dripped with defiance. He paced the ring, his fiery intensity captivating the audience. "You want to talk about acknowledging someone? Nah, the real ones acknowledge me. Because unlike Roman, I didn't forget the streets. I didn't forget who I am. And if you got a problem with that, we can handle it right now." Stealing the catchphrase as the crowd buzzed with anticipation, Solo Sikoa and Jimmy USO appeared on the stage, with Paul Heyman in tow. Jimmy smirked, microphone in hand. "Jacob, you don't know what you're getting into. You think just because you made a name for yourself outside WWE, you can step into our yard and disrespect the tribal chief?" Fatu interrupted with a loud laugh, shaking his head. "Your yard? Man, Roman doesn't own this anymore. The bloodline is crumbling, and everybody knows it. And Jimmy, let's be real, you're just riding coattails. Solo's the real muscle, Heyman's the brains, and Roman? He's all talk. The crowd gasped as Fatu stepped closer to the ropes, pointing directly at Solo. But me? I don't need a mouthpiece or a goon squad to back me up. You know why? Because I am the head of the table now. The arena erupted. Fatu's audacity left the bloodline stunned. Then came the real dagger. And oh yeah, Fatu growled, leaning into the camera, let me borrow something from your so-called tribal chief, acknowledge me. The crowd exploded in cheers, the audacious theft of Reigns' iconic catchphrase igniting a wildfire of reactions across social media. Fans in attendance couldn't believe what they had just heard. The chaos unfolds incensed, Jimmy and Solo stormed down to the ring. Fatu didn't back down, meeting the pair head-on with a fearless glare. The brawl that followed was nothing short of brutal. Fatu held his own against Solo's devastating strikes and Jimmy's calculated double-team tactics, showcasing why he was a force to be reckoned with. At one point, Fatu hit a devastating Samoan drop on Jimmy, sending him rolling out of the ring. The crowd chanted his name as he squared up with Solo. The two titans exchanged thunderous blows, their raw powers shaking the ring. Paul Heyman, watching from ringside, screamed for reinforcements. Get him! Finish him! But Fatu wasn't done. He delivered a jaw-dropping moonsault to Solo, leaving the enforcer stunned in the center of the ring. The arena erupted as Fatu stood tall, his energy electric. A warning to Roman Reigns grabbing a mic, Fatu stood over Solo and Jimmy's fallen forms. He directed his next words straight into the camera, knowing Roman Reigns was watching from wherever he was recuperating. Roman, you think you're untouchable? Think again. I'm coming for your throne, your legacy, and your family. And when I'm done, the bloodline will never be the same again. He raised his arms, gesturing to the crowd. This is my island now. Acknowledge me, or get left behind. The screen faded to black with Fatu standing triumphant in the ring, his rebellious proclamation echoing through the WWE universe. Backstage fallout as SmackDown went off the air, WWE's social media channels exploded with reactions. Fans debated whether Jacob Fatu had gone too far by using Roman's iconic catchphrase against him. Others praised the boldness of the newcomer, claiming he was exactly what the bloodline story needed to reinvigorate the narrative. Backstage, reports indicated that tensions were high. Paul Heyman, visibly shaken, was seen in deep conversation with Triple H. Sources close to the situation suggested that Roman Reigns was furious and planning to address Fatu's actions on the next episode of SmackDown. Meanwhile, Jacob Fatu was reportedly unfazed by the controversy. This is just the beginning, he told reporters in a post-show interview. Roman thinks he's the tribal chief, but he's been sitting on that throne for too long. It's time for a new king. What's next for the bloodline? Jacob Fatu's arrival has thrown the bloodline into chaos. Roman Reigns, known for his meticulous control over his faction, now faces a challenger who not only matches his intensity but also dares to redefine the family's legacy. Will Reigns return to silence Fatu, or will the Samoan werewolf force the tribal chief to confront his own vulnerabilities? One thing is certain, the war for the island has only just begun.